Should you use lifting straps in your training? Find out in today's Q&A. Hey everyone, Selwyn here from Wynn, where the goal of the channel is to help you get a little bit stronger every single day. Thanks for clicking on another 5-minute Friday Q&A where I attempt to answer your questions in under 5 minutes. So if you want your question answered, be sure to leave a comment below or send me an Instagram message. So today's question is pretty simple. Should you use lifting straps? Let's start that timer. So if you followed the channel for any significant amount of time, you know my instant answer is going to be yes, use them, don't use them. It's up to you. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day because they're just another tool in the toolkit. Now, to dig a little deeper into the question, add a little bit more context and color to the equation is let's dive a little deeper, because the question shouldn't be if you should use them, but rather when should you use them best in your training to elicit the training response that you want. Should you always use them? Probably not. Should you never use them? Probably not either. So utilizing lifting straps tactically is going to be a great way to get some good training stimulus and be able to push your body a little bit further than you could have previously. Straps are a great tool to lift when your grip becomes a limiting factor, and that's, I think, where the key point of this whole thing lies. It's when the grip becomes a limiting factor, that's when you should implement using some lifting straps. If you can't grip it, then you can't lift it. So that's where the lifting straps come in. By adding some lifting straps, it allows you to get better at a training stimulus for that targeted muscle group when grip is not going to allow you to train that hard or that long. The argument against using lifting straps is that if you rely on them too heavily, they're going to be a crutch and you're not going to have a strong grip. You're going to have a great deadlift, but a really weak grip, which is an issue, obviously. Just in training, you don't want to become reliant on any single tool. Really, that's why you have a bunch of different tools to access different training stimuli. On the other hand, when you look at the counter argument, grip is always going to be a limiting factor. It's always going to be your weakest link in the chain. Just because the size of your forearm is a lot smaller than any other muscle that trains using grip. Size matters. When you look at the size of your lats, they're clearly bigger than your grip, your forearms. All the muscles involved in a deadlift far surpass the size of your forearms. So when you just look at simple size comparison, there's no way that the grip is going to be able to keep up with the amount of weight that you'll be able to lift with your back or any other muscle for that matter. And with that being said, I think it'd be impossible for you to find anybody on the planet that's able to deadlift more without straps than with straps. Look at the world's strongest man competition for their deadlift. I mean, yes, it's a strongman deadlift. They can do a lot of other things, but the fact that they're allowed to use straps for a deadlift, I think just highlights the fact that given the right tool, you can pick up a lot more weight using straps than without straps. So does all your training have to use straps when you deadlift? No, but should some of it? Probably, so you can ramp up some of that deadlift strength. It all boils down to using them strategically or strapegically in order to elicit the training response we want. Again, I wouldn't recommend using straps for every single exercise or every single rep for that matter. But I would say throw them in when grip becomes a limiting factor and when grip isn't the targeted muscle group. So for example, if I'm training static holds with farmer carriers where training the grip is the primary point of training that movement, I'm never going to use straps out movement, even if I could hold that weight for a lot longer with straps, because the goal of the movement is to build my grip up. Now, when we took that on the flip side, if I'm training deadlifts for high reps, I'm definitely going to want to use straps there because my grip is definitely going to give out before my back does or before my entire posterior chain gives up. I'm going to be able to deadlift a lot more weight for a lot longer if I have straps and my grip isn't the limiting issue here. And if I always make my grip the limiting issue, I'm severely handicapping the amount of training I can get if I take that out of the equation. The way I like to personally use straps in my training is that for pretty much all the warm-ups, no straps are being involved. I like to warm up this is where I kind of get my grip training in, especially with the deadlift, for example. All the warm-ups will be double overhand until the barbell literally starts slipping out of my hand, at which point I'll switch over to alternate grip, so just, over and under grip. And if that's not at the working weight yet, I'll continue up to there. And then when there's only about 2 or 3 sets left for my deadlift, that's when I'll look at throwing in some lifting straps. And that's, keep in mind, this is really only for high rep deadlift stuff. When I'm training single rep deadlift strength, I'm generally not using straps. I'm using alternating grip, something I might change in the future. But again, different seasons require different tools. That's how I like to implement straps, so that I get the best of both worlds. Warm up. Let me wrap up by saying this. At the end of the day, even if you relied so heavily on straps that you became insanely strong elsewhere and the only weak link in your body was your weak grip, then you're still insanely strong, you just have a weak grip. Whereas the flip side of that is, if you made grip your limiting factor for all training, you'll definitely be putting a ceiling on how strong you can get, because grip will always fail first. So I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please click that like button below. Let me know below how often you use lifting straps in your training. Please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future Q&A videos. And again, drop a comment below if you have a question you would like answered. This has been Solon from Wynn Strength, and remember to never stop lifting and to never stop learning. Use lips. Should you use